Okay. So there's been two recent changes to the distribution of items that I understand the developer has described them as more fun, but in my opinion, it's not more fun. I think you're decreasing the difficulty and complexity of the game and just giving things directly into people's inventories, and they're not having to do anything for it. The first one here was the party poppers. Um, See, these things are related, so it's an interesting kind of design choice. The first one was party poppers, where if you did them, it would just go into people's inventory if they were around you, so they didn't have to be necessarily active. They just had to be online. Prior to this change, you needed to at least pick them up off the ground. The reality of the situation, you'd have, one or two or three very active players go ahead and snatch up all the gifts. Okay. Same thing is what happened with Fragment Rain, right? When the bar was filled here, Fragment Rain happened. Every map in the game gets 2 fragments. The intention was that players had to go out and find them. The reality is that you had 2 or 3 very active players go ahead and scoop it all up and essentially then have all the resources to do the events. And so what was changed, just like party poppers, now when the fragment rain happens, wherever you are in the game, whether you're doing combat or gathering, you have a chance to just find one of these, I don't know what they're called, fragment orbs, something like that. So my suggestion would be this: Norroth has removed any sort of exploration or like challenge to acquire the items. They're just given to you. And what I would put to the dev and the team, because there's a whole team now, require people to actually work for the prizes you're giving them. Be able to articulate very clearly what the problem is. This is something that I have noticed over the past year and a half when trying to give these suggestions to the developer, is not being very clear on what the problem is. Is the problem that someone is grabbing too many items? If so, the solution doesn't necessarily need to be, well, now we're just going to give them to specific people to prevent one person from grabbing everything. I think a better solution would be to cap how much a single person could do. If it's with the party poppers, drop 10 items on the ground, but as soon as someone picks up 2 of them, or only show a player 2 of them, then they're done. And so you still require folks to actually play the game to get these things. And by that I don't mean like just be logged in, because the way Fragment Rain happens now is it just falls into your backpack as long as you're online and maybe idling. Like, I still think a better solution would be that you still have to go from map to map to map, but once a single player picks up 8 or 10, then that's it. Maybe they don't see any more Fragment Rain, or maybe it just tells them, hey, you've picked up enough out of this much. Leave some for others. Don't be greedy, right? So you still keep the same mechanic in there, because the problem was when other players went to go look, there was nothing there left. So don't remove the actual, hunting and seeking portion of the game. Just limit how much one person can influence the whole map. I think as Norroth continues to grow and try new things, the trend that I'm seeing is that when there's a certain amount of resistance, things are just getting like easier and easier. Um, what I would suggest is that you take the time to clearly articulate what the problem is and then design a solution that actually addresses the problem. This is the same thing when they were talking about like the auction house being empty. Um, so folks were so now there's less like auction house space or less mail space or less, like they capped characters and they capped um, um, sorry, they capped stack size. And it's like this doesn't necessarily, is that really why people weren't engaging in the auction house?